everybody. This is Sheri Flasch with the Esthetician Connection. Happy Zoom Room Thursday to you all. We have Tracy Donley with ASCP. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
Hi, I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you.
Well, awesome. We are thrilled to have you. And I can see people are flooding in right now. Okay, guys. So everyone coming into the webinar, you've got a chance to win 3 things. Not just one thing. So the way you're going to enter to win all 3 of these is going to be posting on the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page. Now, listen very carefully because there's 3 different prizes. Prize number 1 is an Esthetician Connection campfire mug, which is one of those mega mugs that you're going to be addicted to if you're a coffee drinker. So it's mega large. It can hold a large cup of coffee, and of course it's purple, microwavable, all that good stuff. And the way you're also, the second prize is going to be a cold roller from ASCP, and it's Tracy, tell me about that a little bit. It's
great. It's a glow skin cold roller. You put it in the fridge. You just roll your face. It's a metal roller. It's amazing. You will love it.
And they can do it over a sheet mask or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
you can do it dry.
Oh, you drive with it. There you go. So the cold roller and the mug, the way you're going to, anyone can enter for those, by the way. And the way you're going to enter for those is you're going to post a picture of you taking this Zoom room class, and you're going to post on the Esthetician Connection Facebook page, and you're going to use the hashtag ECLovesASCP. So pay attention to the hashtags. They're going to be super important. So to enter for the mug or the cold roller, use the hashtag ECLovesASCP. Now, here's another prize, guys. Now, this prize is only open to estheticians who do not currently use ASCP insurance. So this is for new, this would be someone new to ASCP. This person is going to win a year of ASCP insurance coverage for free. And the way you're going to enter for that is you're still going to take the photo of yourself, and you're going to use the hashtag I want ASCP free. I want ASCP free. And that's how we're going to look for the non-members who are entering for the 1-year free ASCP membership. So remember, either way, you take a picture of yourself taking this class. Okay, you can just take a little selfie, do what you want to do, make it fun. It's always great to see your faces on the page. We love to engage with you. You've got 2 hashtags to use. Feel free to use them both if you are entering for both. So if you're a non-ASCP member and you want to enter for the mug and the cold roller, put both hashtags there, because the way we're going to be searching for you guys is with the hashtags. So let's go over them one more time. Hashtag for the mug and the cold roller, use hashtag ECLovesASCP. If you're entering and you're a non-ASCP member, entering for the free year of ASCP insurance, use the hashtag I want, what'd I say? Now make me do it again. I want ASCP free. I want ASCP free. That's the way we're going to be able to know for it. Even if you do ASCP free, I'll probably find you, but I want ASCP free is a little bit easier. So you can use both hashtags. We are going to put them in the comments of this thread, in the chat room, I'm sorry. And that way you can enter for all of them. So Tracy Donley is with ASCP, and we work very closely with them on the Esthetician Connection. You know that. So we always have these great discounts to give you guys if you want to start your insurance with them. They have advanced insurance or advanced modalities you can add as well. Tracy's going to do a presentation on helping you to get back to work. There's tons of questions on this. So at the end of her presentation, I'm going to come back in and we're going to go over the questions and answers. So the area, we're going to get to them at the end. Tracy, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand this over to you. And then maybe if somewhere in the middle you want to remind them about the entering, because they're still coming in, which is super cool. At the end, I'll remind them one more time, just so that we know everybody gets a chance to win something fun. So I'm handing this over to Tracy. Bye, guys. Enjoy the presentation.
Hi, guys. Can everybody see me? hopefully. And also wanted to let you know, we also have Maggie Staszcuk on the line today too, and she will be helping me answer some of your burning questions that I'll probably create or inspire you to ask after the presentation. So yeah, she'll be there, and she's our expert. She's a licensed esthetician and has been doing amazing work doing everything that's happening right now. She has been one of the authors of the guidelines for ASCP that we're going to talk about today, what it looks like to get back to practice. So give a little wave, Maggie.
Hey, everyone.
Great. Let's see, can see my screen? All right, let's just jump into it. So everybody, thank you so much. Today we're going to be talking about back to practice and what that looks like. These are just guidelines and considerations for opening your doors. One thing I want to make sure that everyone knows that we're not necessarily saying this is the time to do it. What we're saying is when you personally decide that you are ready, these are the guidelines that we would like to suggest for you, okay? Another thing that we want to make sure we're explaining to everybody is in lieu of a cure or a vaccine, antibody tests, or other intervention, there is no guarantee that you or your clients will be safe, that you will not have any interactions or necessarily be unscathed. But we do understand that this is a very personal decision, and a lot of us just need to get back to business, right? Okay, so these are some of the considerations some of the things that we'll be discussing today. So first, considerations that you should make before you reopen. We're also going to discuss treatment room and office readiness, marketing and business practices, pre-session interaction, in-session protocols, post-session protocols, and of course, post-session sanitation. Oh, I've got fancy little things. Let me get through those. All right. So here are some of the things that you should consider before reopening. It's very important that you abide by your state and or local government guidelines, right? I think everyone knows that that's important. And then as a reminder, you should always follow your regulatory and agency regulations as well as scope of practice. And it's important to note that your insurance will not, as it relates to insurance, especially with ASCP, you will not be covered if your state has not lifted their stay-at-home orders yet. Okay, so don't open doors or see clients if you haven't had your stay-at-home orders lifted. And then, of course, you want to be able to ensure that you can source all the proper PPE that you will need to follow these guidelines, as well as keep yourself, your staff, and your clients healthy and safe. So here, let's just kind of jump right into it when you're looking at reopening your doors. First, you're going to want to remove any unnecessary items. Okay, so what are unnecessary items? They're your knick-knack, paddywhack type of stuff out there. Things like candles, just little trinkets and things that you don't necessarily need to do your service, right? You also want to make sure to remove all testers and samples. So even though it's great to let your clients try out products to see if it's something that they do want to purchase, you do want to remove that because that could create a place, it could be a place where you are possibly creating contamination, and it's just more cleaning that you'll have to do. So think about it like, what do I have to clean? And then also too, some of you may have self-serve items. So those might be things like bottles of water or water coolers or coffee or tea or things of that nature. I recommend removing them. It's just another thing to clean and worry about. Okay, now the most important part is what we're adding, right? We're gonna need to make sure we're adding the hand sanitizers. So make sure that those are very visible in your waiting area, as well as in all the treatment rooms, cleaning wipes, disposable paper towels, facial tissues, a lidded trash can with a foot pedal. Why is it important to have a lidded trash can with a foot pedal? Because it's touchless, as well as it's lidded. So you are keeping any kind of contaminants out of the air, okay? Hand washing posters, always a great idea to make sure you have hand washing posters in the bathrooms or anywhere that hand washing would occur. That would be giving directions specifically as to what you need to do to properly wash your hands. I also recommend that you install no-touch soap and paper towel dispensers. Again, it's one less place to worry about people touching and getting contaminants on there. All right, this is a big job. It's not an easy one, right? For getting back to practice, cleaning. So make sure that you use EPA approved disinfectants, follow the manufacturer's guidelines, establish a cleaning schedule. So the reason that's so important is because not only if you need to establish a cleaning schedule, but you also need to convey that to your staff if you have any staff at all. As well as I've been talking to a few other people out there in the industry, and it's nice to have that cleaning schedule documented, have it all printed down. If something were to happen, like we always talk about when we're talking about risk and ASCP, is documented. So even documenting it each day, going through that checklist. We'll probably get more into that later. So to open the doors, here's all the things you're going to need to wash and clean. Linens, rugs, curtains, tables, chairs, trolleys, stations. You guys can read it here. Light fixtures, light switches, floors, doorknobs, doors, and door frames. This is a great opportunity for you to take inventory at this time too. You know, is the chairs that you have in your waiting area or reception, are they difficult to clean? Are they puffy and have all kinds of blankets and furry pillows and fun stuff like that? Maybe that should be something you remove. Maybe you want to replace your chairs with something that is a beautiful, clear, high-end plastic chair, something that's a lot easier to clean. So just ideas for you guys there. It's a great time to really bring it down. Think about how many things you have to clean. Okay, next. Now we're going to talk a little bit about business practices and market readiness. So what does that mean? That means, how are you going to be communicating to your clients? What are your business practices? What do your new protocols look like as an operation standpoint, okay? So you're going to, and I know all of you guys are so smart out there, you know that you're going to use all the different channels to communicate to your clients, right? You're going to make sure the communication is on the website. You're going to make sure you're communicating through emails, social media. You know your clients best, but what's important is that this information resonates and they hear it before their appointments. So you want to make sure that you are sharing the new sanitation protocols and policies that you have outlined. And I think it's also a good time to write this down. Keep it for yourself. I would be creating an actual binder of what all this looks like so that you can, or even a file on your computer, so you can be pulling that information in and out of this master document. And you could even use our guidelines that we have on ASCP to pull that information out. You can find that at ascpskincare.com/back-to-practice. We'll show that website towards the end of the presentation here, but use some of the exact verbiage in there to communicate with your clients. You are going to want to communicate cancellation policies and update your booking language. So I'm guessing that a lot of you are going to maybe loosen up your cancellation policies a little bit, because you don't want someone to be fretting over $25 cancellation charge or something like that and come in even though they're sick, right? That would be terrible. So communicate whatever your new cancellation policy looks like. Update your booking language. So make sure that you're updating that language on your booking platforms, your tech platforms, your websites, everywhere. Perform a client consultation with an intake form with every service. So make sure that, and a lot of people have even been talking about performing that in a call. So maybe it's like a baby intake form, intake call that you do, and that's pre-treatment, but I'm probably jumping ahead. So we'll get to that. Okay, so website, email, social media, again, communicating all these things, the business changes. So revise your hours to accommodate new cleaning protocols. What this means is that you're likely going to have to schedule more time in between each client because of the amount of cleaning that you're going to have to do. And we're going to get into those very specifics, but so you might want to revise your hours. This also might mean communicating to your client that they can only come as early as 5 minutes before their appointment. If they are there any earlier, you may instruct them that they should remain in their vehicle or remain outside. You want to do everything you can to eliminate client overlap. So this is one way of doing that. And then also to consider a touchless pay system or platform. You guys know what those are. That's like PayPal, Venmo. There's tons of them out there. So consider something along those lines so that you're not exchanging money. People aren't having to necessarily even write their name. You may want to even consider asking people to prepay the day before they come in. And doing that online if that's something that your booking system allows them to do, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about the pre-session interaction. And we're gonna first start with health intake updates. We want to make sure that you're including a COVID-19 related questions on your intake form. And I can pretty much hear everybody screaming in the background, does that mean I need to have a waiver too, or an addendum? Yes, you do. You want to have an addendum, and we at ASCP have created that for you, so you can go to our site to find that. Or of course, if you have one, use that as well. But you want to definitely make sure that you are including COVID-related questions on your intake form. Things like, have you been sick? Do you have a fever today? Those types of questions. You can take a look at ours on our site if you want to. Okay, you need to also include informed consent language about the risk of infection. Something that we've also included on the form for you. And as well as consider online intake form processes too. So this is something that you could send out to them that they could do prior to the appointment. And then if you have any questions about it, they can ask you prior. It's just one less thing to touch. So trying to get rid of those printed forms if possible. Pre-screening. Create your pre-screening call process. Okay, so what does that mean? We kind of chatted a little bit about that earlier in the webinar here. Document that. So does that mean that you are kind of going through a checklist explaining exactly what they can expect to see when they get in? Also too, are you going to verbally ask them those questions that we had been talking about as it relates to, have you been sick? Have you been running a fever? Have you traveled outside the country? Traveled to a hotspot in the country? Maybe it's New York City. Whatever yours looks like. But create that pre-screening call process. I would recommend, again, putting it in your master plan document book so that it's communicated to everybody on your team. I would really hold off, I'm sure you guys have heard this, I would hold off on taking any walk-ins. Again, we want to really limit the amount of overlap and the amount of people that are just walking into your space, and really control that environment as much as we can. Ask clients the pre-screening questions and discuss new protocols in your reminder calls. So I kind of alluded to that in the first bullet point. So you want to make sure that you've really documented and created that and then going through all those steps, okay? Okay, in-session protocols. Practitioner Preparedness. So you want to make sure that you're providing supplies for respiratory hygiene and cough etiquette. So not only for you and your staff, but also too, we are recommending that you supply that for your clients, right? So that might mean when you're considering purchasing and sourcing all your PPE, that might mean making sure that you have masks on hand for your clients when they arrive if they have forgotten theirs or didn't think that they were going to need it. Gloves and masks should be worn throughout the entire aesthetic service. All hygiene protocols apply, or hygienic protocols apply. So it was interesting. I was speaking to an epidemiologist this past weekend for something that we're doing for ASCP, and she had a great point. She said mask etiquette is going to become a really big deal, and really truly understanding how to wear your mask, and making sure that it's clean and safe. I think it's a good idea to experiment with a bunch of different type of masks before you open your doors, because again, you will be wearing them the majority of the day, right? So making sure that they're comfortable. You want to not have to touch your mask at all. The more you touch it, the more you are actually getting potential germs or the virus on your hands, okay? So figure out what is going to be the most comfortable mask for you, and also realize that you might be changing your mask often too. So think about, what that mask looks like. Okay. The product should be pre-dispensed onto a pallet. So I think a great idea is, you've almost seen like the little metal pans that your dentist uses. You could use trays like that to put the product on it. There's lots of different ways, but that will really cut down in exposure as well. So just pre-dispense everything, if you can, onto a pallet for your treatment and your service. And then alter your menu of services and temporarily remove treatments that may be putting your client at risk. Like for instance, here in Colorado, we are being required as estheticians to be wearing a face mask, but so is our client, right? So that makes it very difficult to do a full facial. So temporarily, you might be removing that service off your menu, and you may be doing different types of services. Maybe you're doing more brow waxing or those types of things. Maybe you're going to get creative and come up with some more services here in Colorado. So remove some of those services if you can't safely perform them. Okay, client arrival and intake. So we're recommending that you use a no contact thermometer to take your client's temperature. Create a space where it's a stopping point before they get too much further into your spa or your suite, and take that temperature immediately. I think everyone's probably seen what those thermometers look like. They're out there and they're getting a lot easier to obtain. So look for that as soon as you can. If the client is not wearing a mask, offer a cloth one. Or if you are able to, at a reasonable price, be able to source disposable masks, that's fine too. Initiate doorway screening checklist questions. So this again is going to be taking their temperature. You're going to ask them the same questions that they may or may have not have answered in their intake form and possible pre-screening call. Ask clients to use a hand sanitizer and give any new instructions that you have. So this may look like, I'm going to give you this plastic tote. I would like for you to put your purse and your belongings in there. We would prefer to not bring them into the treatment room. They will be safe here. That could be something that you guys are doing. Whatever the new instructions look like for the treatment. Provide clients with a plastic basket to put clothes in and items. There you go. That's an exact same thing of what I just said. So that's something that you could do there as well. Now, during the session, consider using a mag light or a face shield, if you can obtain one, as an additional barrier from aspirations. So when you're performing aesthetic services, you're very, very close to your client. So we want you to do whatever you can to protect yourself and your client from any of those aspirations, okay? Before leaving the room, be sure to remove your gloves, apply hand sanitizer, and use a paper towel to open the door. And you can do that for your client, or you can also recommend that they do that for themselves as well. So making sure that they're using hand sanitizer after the treatment and using a paper towel or tissue to open the door. Okay, so the post-session protocols. Immediately undergo your hand washing protocol. So I know that you had just put on hand sanitizer, but you need to go to the sink and do your hand washing as instructed. Do not touch or adjust your face covering, your mask. Like I mentioned before, you want to avoid touching it as much as possible. Leave your mask on. Handle payments while wearing a mask and while wearing a pair of disposable gloves. Do not remove your face mask until the client has left. So I know that we had previously said remove your gloves. It's a good time to put on a new pair of disposable gloves just to make sure that you're not, again, picking up more of the potential virus after you've left the room. Once client leaves, dispose of the gloves. And this is where it's a lot more than you guys are used to. We're recommending that you remove your uniform shirt. So maybe that is the t-shirts that you wear, or it's the scrub top, but you want to place all of that in a lidded container, So I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm pretty sure what you're wanting to do is remove the bedding, remove your shirt, remove everything, and put it into one big bundle and put it in the lidded trash can that has the little foot pedal. And then you're going to want to wash your hands very thoroughly again, apply sanitizer, put your new shirt on, and then once you know you're going to see clients again, you're going to put a fresh mask on as well. Okay. Yep, so redress in your clean uniform shirt, put on new gloves, and begin to sanitize the room. So I don't believe, and Maggie can also chime in on this, but I don't believe that you do have to wear a mask while you're sanitizing the room. Is that true, Maggie?
You can choose to take that off or leave on your mask. Generally, our recommendation is that the mask does not come off until that client has left, and your gloves are staying on until sanitation is complete. As far as changing your uniform, that's just recommended because it may be contaminated. An alternative to changing your uniform is also to have a disposable gown, which a lot of estheticians who are performing permanent makeup already have on hand. So instead of having to go through a lot of outfits, if you will, just having that disposable gown on hand. And with each client, that's just part of your PPE. You change that gown out and it just goes into the trash.
Yeah, I think it all just depends on what you're comfortable with. If you can source those items, some people want to be a little more green than others, and some people want to make it more simple. So it's whatever is going to work the best for you. All right. Post-session check-in with the client. Maggie, can you elaborate on that as well?
Yeah, so once that treatment is complete, so say within 24 hours the next day, just check in with your client, make sure they're doing well, they're not showing any symptoms of COVID-19, and also that no one within your practice, you or your staff, don't have any symptoms. And you just want to be sure that if your client does develop symptoms, that they are calling you up to let you know.
Perfect. Okay, post-session sanitization. So the room turnover, we talked a little bit about that, but let's go into detail here. Open the windows or turn on a HEPA filter for air circulation. I think that, especially speaking to the epidemiologist, air circulation is a really big deal, and making sure that we've got things flowing. We don't know for sure if HEPA filters are going to be, really powerful at cleaning the air in the way that we want them to as it relates to the coronavirus, but air circulation is key. With gloves, as Maggie had already stated, remove all the linens, the towels, any draping. Make sure that you're using, and you guys know this, but make sure you guys are using EPA-approved disinfectants to clean down the equipment, the devices, and all surfaces. So really get in there. This is not a light cleaning. This is like clean everything down, wipe it all down. And this is why you need to be scheduling extra time in between the clients. Okay, sanitation between clients. Let's go into the details here. Making sure this is constant. It's so much cleaning, but we need to do it. Wipe down the bathroom surfaces between clients. The reception area and countertops, make sure you're hitting those too, especially if you have like a reception area where people are checking out from their services. Point of sale equipment, and even retail products, right? So chairs, if we've been doing having a lot of conversations, and I don't know if this is being mentioned in this next part of the presentation, but we've also been saying, like, if you can avoid letting clients touch all the different retail products on the shelves, that it's a great idea that maybe you're the only person who's touching it. If they have, if you know when you're going into the room that you would like to sell them these 4 products, or they've shown interest in certain products, pull those aside and get them away from the rest of the retail shelves, because then you're looking at it as only maybe cleaning 2 or 3 bottles and disinfecting them versus having to try to figure out what you all need to wash down. So that's an idea there too. End of day sanitation. This is where you're going to empty all the trash cans. Use cleaning cloths to wipe the inside and the outside of the trash can. It has got to be clean, because otherwise you could be bringing all those contaminants into the space, especially when you're pulling things out of the trash can, okay? All right, and then clean phones. Wipe all your phones down, any surface you can imagine. It's everything. It's so much cleaning, you guys. I know you all are going, whoa, I'm becoming a cleaner versus an esthetician, but in order to keep everyone as safe as possible, these are the things that you need to do. So you're cleaning keyboards, thermometers, light switches, just door handles, door jambs, the bathroom, all the surfaces you could possibly imagine. This is where you need to be very detailed. So then you're going to need to remove the bagged laundry from the dirty bin and replace a new clean liner. So this will help you to not have to clean so much if you have a disposable liner. Otherwise, you're really going to have to be getting in there. All right. So I had mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that, oh, it just disappeared on us. Let's see if we go back. For more details on and resources on the Back to Practice guides, or you want to even just see the references and the resources that we used to create all these guidelines, it's very, very detailed. But you can go through it. It's set up in tabs, so you can look at one tab at a time. You can go to ascpskincare.com/back-to-practice. Make sure you get those hyphens in there. /back-to-practice. That's also, you guys, where we're going to have the addendum to the intake. So it's going to be your specific COVID-19 addendum/waiver. We will be posting other resources that can help you get back to practice there as well. And that is for everyone, not just members. We will be creating some special things that are for members, but this is for everybody. We want everyone out there to stay safe. Then I wanted just to remind everyone, since insurance is a big part of what we do, that not only is it important to do all of these things that we've been talking about today to reduce risk to COVID-19, but also to do some of these things just to make sure you're maintaining, helps you protect your career, right? So, and keep your clients and yourself safe. So make sure you're maintaining a safe work environment. What does that look like? That means look at your mag lamp and make sure that the glass is secure in there. Look at your tables. When you're cleaning them down, I mean, because you're going to really be getting in there, make sure that all those screws are tight, nothing is wobbly. Make sure that you're routinely checking all your heat sources. So your towel warmers, your steamers, all those things. We have had so many issues with heat, right? Steamers spitting, scalding hot water. So we don't want to add more fuel to the fire. I guess that's a horrible way to say it regarding heat sources, but then also to, make sure that you're being very thorough. I mean, we talked about this at the beginning of the presentation. Make sure that you're being very thorough when it comes to the intake forms, the health history, and waiver forms. Document, document, document. And that can mean even documenting your phone calls, your pre-screening calls and post calls to check in on people. Always discuss the potential risks, you guys know that, or contraindications, as well as keep accurate records. Always use caution when applying heat. Post-treatment precautions. Make sure that you guys are going over those verbally before the client leaves, and then also give them a written piece of at-home instructions and precautions to take with them. I know that may sound counterintuitive right now because we're trying to limit the amount of touching that we do. So maybe that means you're following up with them specifically in an email after the fact so that they can refer to that in their phone or on their computer. Build a strong and professional relationships with your clients. We know that if something does go wrong, making sure that you have a professional relationship can make things a lot smoother. Never practice unsafe procedures. Make sure you're sticking to your scope of practice. And when in doubt, you guys know it, refer out, right? Okay, oh, we've got little lines again. Sorry, guys. Okay, and then especially right now, with everything going on, if you are an employee, I really want you all to take extra special care in making sure that you're very communicative with your employer and you're asking them lots of questions about how they're keeping you safe. Think about all the guidelines that we talked about today, but then also ask them these questions. Am I covered if my client sues me individually, right? Make sure you understand what their policy looks like. Does the employer policy cover every treatment you do? Are there any exclusions that you need to know about, especially during this time in our lives? And it's who knows what's around the corner here. Is their policy current? Man, I feel like I would be really nervous if just to even think about my employer's policy possibly not being current, given the financial, concerns or financial things that are happening. Do they renew, and have they renewed their policy on time? And are you covered everywhere you work? You guys know this. If you're practicing on your friends, your family, anybody, they could sue you. So if you don't have a policy that individually covers you, like ASCP's does, or there's other ones out there as well. I think that you might be playing with fire. And then just wanted to share, this is ASCP. These are all the things we offer. We offer protection, education, promotion. Typically it's $259 a year, but our wonderful people at Esthetician Connection have negotiated a very special rate for you guys. So you get a $50 discount when you use their special URL. We'd love to have you if you're not a client, not a member. And one thing I wanted to put out there too, if you guys are having a little bit more of difficulty when it relates to, what does your income look like? For the first time ever, ASCP is offering you to split up your annual membership fee into four consecutive month payments. So that might make it a little bit easier for you to join and be protected. So I am Tracy Donley. I'm the Executive Director of ASCP, and I hope that you liked this presentation. Hello.
Hello, am I in yet?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm here. I don't see me, but I know I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Well, let me stop sharing my screen.
Oh, hi, everybody. Hi, I love the presentation. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Guys, I know there's going to be some questions, so we're going to go through those first. But before we do that, we want to make sure if you did come in a little late, there's going to be a few prizes that we're giving away because we love to give stuff away. The first thing that we're giving away, which was so generous of ASCP, is one of you is going to win a full year of ASCP insurance complimentary on them. Now, the only people that can enter for this are obviously estheticians who do not use ASCP. So unfortunately, if you already are an ASCP member, yay, I'm happy you are, and you get the best price out there. But this is going to be to kind of help someone who doesn't have ASCP or they're looking for new insurance. So the way you're going to enter for that is you're just going to take a photo of yourself taking this class, and you're going to post it on the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page. Our admins are amazing. They're going to go ahead and let that through, so don't worry about the fact that it pops up and says it's pending. Just make sure you use the hashtag #IWantASCP free. Okay, the hashtag #IWantASCP free. And then that's how we're going to help to find the esthetician who wins the 1 year. Yay! The other two prizes, because we want everybody else to have a chance to win something too. So there's two prizes. One is going to be a glow roller, which is a cold roller that the ASCP is providing. And the other prize is my favorite coffee mug. I don't know if you've ever tried this mug before, but it's a mega coffee mug, huge, microwavable. You can have at least 2 cups in this 1 cup. So one of you is going to win this. And all you do for that is same thing, take a photo of you taking this class, post on the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page, use the hashtag EC loves ASCP. And if you do not have ASCP and you want to enter for both, put both hashtags on there. That's fine too. So the hashtags are in this thread in case you want to read it. And I'm going to go through some questions. Tracy, I learned a lot. So thank you so much. My mind is like,
I know, it's so much.
What's happening. And I since I do the Esthetician Connection now, I don't have as much of my regular practice, so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so what would I be doing in my regular practice? And it seems a little daunting, and I get that, but here's the most important thing, everybody. Yes, it is daunting, but you have to start somewhere, and the best thing to do is take advice from an insurance company. Okay, they're going to be the ones that are giving you the best advice. So all of these things that they're recommending, I know it seems silly, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And and you might be surprised, removing a lot of the tchotchkes from the place, you might actually like it better. You might like the streamline. It's so much easier to clean when you don't have the little teddy bear sitting here and this and that and the other. And you know what I mean? All the fun stuff we keep around us because we're women and we want to feel cozy. So it's going to be nice to kind of streamline that, keep it clean, keep it safe. I would probably go with the disposable. I know about the whole green thing, but I couldn't imagine changing my clothes I would see sometimes 15 clients in a day. So there's no way I would want to take 15 shirts. So I would probably see myself doing a disposable. Okay, so where do you post? Someone asked a question, where do you post for the prizes? All you do is you post on the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page. It's our group. You just put it in there, submit it as a post, and our admins will approve it, okay? All right, so here's some questions for you guys. And if you don't have the answers, maybe you can refer them to a place they could find the answers, okay? First one, what kind of mask protects us and their client other than an N95?
Honestly, there is no mask that is going to truly protect you except for an N95. In my interview with the epidemiologist that specializes in that, she's like, there's no way. But N95s are very, very difficult to get. They're super uncomfortable. What you just need to do is practice the right type of mask.
Removal and
remove it and make sure you're not touching it as much as you can, and then touching other things, because that's where the contaminants are.
And I've got a couple different masks that I use. I don't go out much, but when I do go out, I obviously wear my mask to go to the grocery store and whatnot. And I feel like I'm breathing my own air, which drives me crazy. And I feel like I want to pull it off my nose, which drives me crazy. So your point about finding a mask that's comfortable is crucial. It's key, because I have tried different masks. Some I'm like, oh, well, this one's not too bad. Others, like, it's all I can do not to play with it. I mean, it's almost impossible not to adjust it. So you want to, that is number one, making sure you find a mask that you can wear comfortably. Some of the masks that I have are cloth masks, but they have these little pockets to insert filters in. And while I know it's not an N95, I feel like I'm getting just a little bit more protection. And I can throw the filters away, and I've got them for my kids, and I'm constantly giving them the new filters to refill them in there, and they can wash their cotton ones. But for the most part, it's all about, and you know, the N95s, they're going to become more available. I'm starting to see them. I'm kind of keeping an eye on things like that. So you want to just
going back to your one with the filter though, be really careful and make sure if it is a cloth one, even if it has a filter that goes in it, you're going to need to take that cloth one off and throw it in the wash. So don't think, because you're really, it's the contaminants that are on the outside of your mask, not on the inside. Okay. So just making sure everyone really understands that.
Right. Now, if they have the disposable kind, like the kind you see at a doctor's shop, they're like just little blue ones or whatever, paper, I call them. They look like paper ones. Those they can chuck between clients. They can just boom, boom, right. And now the cloth ones, you're still recommending, let's say they have 8 clients in one day. They need to have 8 cloth masks, okay? So that's important to note as well. I kind of just go to the grocery store, so I don't have to change it 8 times. I come home, take it off, and then I use a new one.
Unless there is some way that we've been able to figure out to sanitize that face, the cloth one, in between clients, then that might be an option. But speaking to the epidemiologist, she said specifically they should be removed, and a fresh one is put on
each time. Okay. And then here's a question about facials, and I had the same question when you were talking. If you are a facial specialist, and in my case, I was a chemical peel specialist. That's all I did, chemical peels, dermaplaning. Client can't wear a mask. It would kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing a facial if they're wearing a mask. So are you saying no facials, only body treatments, or, you know, non-facial services? Are you saying don't even attempt a facial? Is that what you're recommending?
Yeah, it's really hard. If your state is saying that you specifically have to wear a mask and so does your client, then there are no facials. And we are saying that as an insurance company, because you need to abide by your local and state governments in order to stay compliant with your insurance policy.
So I'm clear. I know obviously with a hairstylist or a manicurist, it's much easier, right? The client can wear on your hair, even with a hairstylist. Are they taking into consideration aesthetics, or are they just kind of forgetting about us? Or
no, so I can tell you there's no way to forget about you guys. But we get calls on a regular basis. Our government relations team is trying to work really closely with all the different cosmetology boards and such around the country. I know even here in Colorado, we're giving our specific recommendations, you know, talking about face shields. They haven't said, yep, let's do that. But we're hoping that we can get to that point that if you're wearing a face shield,
Yeah.
that then you can have your client remove their mask. So we're working really hard, you guys.
Yeah, and here's something interesting. I had a dentist appointment on this past Monday, and it was interesting because I'm having some crazy dental work done, and I didn't even realize what the appointment was for. I just knew it had to be rescheduled for when COVID hit, and they're like, "Oh, we're opening back up. We're doing one person at a time. You can come in for your appointment." So I wasn't even sure what I was getting done. So I go in there, and they're going to pull a tooth out, which that's nothing you want to walk into, because I was like, "Oh, I couldn't even prepare for this." So when I get there, you can't walk in. Okay, the door's locked. So even if you tried to walk in, you could not walk in. You have to sit in your car. And I had to call and say, "Hey, this is Sheri, I'm here." They were like, "All right, we'll call you when it's time for you to come up." And so I waited about 2 to 3 minutes, and then they called. They said, "Okay, you can come up." I walk up to the door. They unlocked it from the inside. Now it's interesting. They put gloves on. They unlocked the door and they opened it. And I walked in, and she locked it behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I didn't touch or sign anything. She walked me back into the dental office. And then, of course, she had to remove the gloves and everything else like that. Then when I got in there, of course, I'm having dental work. I can't wear a mask. And I said that to them. I go, I mean, my mouth is wide open. Like, what do you do? And they just kind of had you rinse with something like antibacterial, whatever. But they were, I swear, it looked like I was having open heart surgery. I mean, they were like gowned up. They had shields on. They had, and I'm just like, I felt kind of like, okay. But I did have my tooth pulled. And then when I went to leave, there's this big screen up where you check out, like a big, you know what I'm talking about? Like
like LED screen. Big LED.
No, like a screen that you couldn't, I couldn't breathe over to the receptionist.
Oh,
couldn't breathe over to me.
Yeah,
like a screen, like
basically the plexiglass one.
Plexiglass. I could not come up with that word. Yeah, that was there. And then no handheld, whatever. Then when she went to walk me out, she puts on a brand new pair of gloves. She walks over to the door, unlocks the door, opens the door, and let me out. And so dentists are allowed to have people's mouths wide open. But I just find it strange that if we're not wearing a shield, we couldn't do a facial where they don't have their mouths open. So it just seems a little unfair to me.
It does seem unfair, and I agree with you. I'm like on your wagon going, yeah, girl. We are trying to do whatever we can. I think that, it's one of those deals that's really difficult, right? Because we here at ASCP want you to stay safe. We want you to be healthy and live long lives of and not have to worry about getting sick from your clients, or you getting your clients sick, or what have you. It's really difficult because there's nothing that is proven that, and it's not necessarily an essential business. I hate to go there. Don't send me hate. I know. I feel like on my face without like might have a hairy lip. I feel like you're very essential. But like that's just it's a tough thing right now. So
and I think, I look at my husband's hair, and he's starting to have the Ronald McDonald clown hair, and I'm just like, I'm telling you, it's essential. Because I gotta look at you. And he manages people, so every day he gets on his Zoom calls with a baseball hat on, and I'm just like, dude, because guys can't really hide it. All right, so we got some more questions. So someone wrote, my business is 95% facials. And Dana, I feel for you. Mine was chemical peels and dermaplaning. I would not be able to do anything. I didn't do a lot of other services.
What I would say to that is I think I'm trying to get across how important it is. If you don't love retail sales, you need to start loving retail sales and at-home products, because we are kind of open right now, but from what they're predicting in fourth quarter in the fall is we're probably going to be shut down again. So you have got to, in order to sustain what your career and your livelihood is, you got to get good at making sure every one of your clients has proper at-home care and they're buying the products from you. So maybe that facial looks different. It's a virtual facial that you do.
It's a virtual facial. And, you know, guys, you can, you know, it's not hard to do Zoom. I mean, this is it, you know, to sign up for Zoom and to have your clients meet you on here and do, you know, have a bunch of your clients meet you on here and go through some facials with them. There's so many options. I think I'm going to start working on some programs for that. But clients want you. They want these facials. They want treatments. And if they can't get touched by you, they want to make sure they have treatments that are of high quality that they can get results with. Okay, what about this new plastic glass face shield for estheticians? I saw it somewhere. I think she's talking about the one that the mask is here and then the shield goes up. That was probably the mask that you were talking about that my dentist had when he was working on me. And
Yeah,
those are, I haven't seen a lot of them for sale yet. Do you know where they are for sale?
I don't. I think, you know, it's going to, if it were me, I would get creative and I would go to dental supply houses, warehouses, just like we have spa ones, and I'm sure that they would be interested in potentially selling that to you. You'll have to just look, but here's what I'm saying is if you state, I mean, you guys have to know what is going on and what's approved by your state, bottom line, because if your state hasn't approved, like here in Colorado, hasn't approved face shields and you're using that, then you know what, you are, yeah, you're out of scope. You're not compliant. So.
Now, question, a hot towel cabbie, do you think that would disinfect the mask? I don't know. I don't know if the lights work. Yeah, I don't know if the lights work.
Yeah. I know
I wouldn't take that
hot towel cabbies. I know a lot of people have been asking, like, hey, is it okay if I use a steamer? Well, steamers actually make things more contagious if I'm using that in my treatment room. Honestly, the Dr. Kroom who I interviewed, she said that's not going to make a difference. Blow dryers, steamers, whatever. If the person has COVID-19, you're going to get it. So it's really more about all of these pre-checks and all of these things beforehand.
Here's a question, and it's an interesting question. It's from Blanca. If you do have access to an N95 mask, would you wear it or could you wear it all day without taking it off? Because obviously the removal increases the chance of contamination on the inside or the outside of the mask. Obviously that would protect the esthetician all day, but from insurance points of view, it would not if you got sued by a client. Am I right?
Well, I don't know about from an insurance standpoint. I would turn that one over to Maggie, not necessarily from an insurance standpoint, but a safety standpoint. I'm not sure. I'll let Maggie chat about that.
The thing is it possible to wear that mask all day and not have to touch or adjust it? And like Tracy mentioned earlier, it's the outside of the mask that you need to be most concerned with. That's where it's contaminated. And so from client to client, you need to be cognizant about cross-contamination. And so if you are able to wear that mask all day without touching it, without touching that outside, and then passing those germs on to the next client, then in theory, it's probably fine. But I think that would be really hard for anybody.
I know for me, it would be. I'd be like,
oh yeah, it would be hard. But I mean, I guess again, there's so much not known about COVID. We're all learning all this, right? So if you're wearing a mask and it gets contaminated on the outside, is that contamination movable? In other words, does it fall off onto the next client? So if you've got the virus on the outside of the mask, is it stuck there, meaning then it wouldn't contaminate? Or if it is something that can, you talk inside the mask and it pushes it off. So that's something we don't know. So I think it's just it's a risk thing. So I probably would say just change it to be safe. Another question, can we spray the curtains between appointments or do they need to be taken down? So I assume they're referring to Lysol or something like that. What do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I would think that you could, but Maggie, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, those Lysol sprays say that they disinfect and they disinfect fabric, but the bottom line is that a curtain is porous. And the only way really to properly clean that is to take it down and put it through the wash with hot water, hot dryer. And if you are having to pull back a curtain to let your client out, especially like in a school setting, for instance, where each treatment space is closed off by a curtain, I don't think, in my opinion, that a spray is suitable. But if that's your your only option between client to client, then I think temporarily it's a good fix.
Okay, let's see. Clients, my room has long windows, clients don't touch them. I think she's referring more to like the curtains on like a window treatment in the back of your room that doesn't necessarily touch a client, and the clients don't touch them because they're window treatments. Does that need to be removed?
I think before opening, you should take that down as part of your reopening sanitation. Everything, like Tracy said in our guide, pillows, curtains, rugs, whatever, all of that should be cleaned and sanitized before you reopen your space to start business again.
Okay, and here's the question I had, if there's any chairs or sofas in there, which obviously have fabric, do you recommend removing any place that they could sit down, or would you cover it, or would you spray it, or how would you deal with a chair or a sofa or something that's in your facility? I mean, I'd have to have people come move things out of my place if I had to move my sofas and whatnot out, and you can't guarantee a person might not sit down, or unless you're walking around going, don't sit. So
yeah, I mean, that's why I really do, my personal opinion, just with everything that I've heard about the virus, I would really remove anything soft that I possibly could. Anything.
Gotcha.
Like, there are beautiful lucite clear chairs you can pick up at IKEA. I'm not saying spend a ton of money out there, but maybe putting those soft surfaces in storage until we have a vaccine. I know it's difficult, but you really need to rethink your whole treatment space and reception area.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, do that one. We'll go through this one. Okay, went through that one. Someone asked about the presentation. This presentation Amber will put together, and we will have a link that we are going to share on the Esthetician Facebook group page. So if you came in late or you want to watch this again, we're going to put that link up later tonight. Okay, you mentioned cleaning curtains. Does this mean we are expected to take them down and put up a fresh pair, or can we use disinfectant? We just answered that, kind of, sort of. Can we use steam? If you're doing facials, I mean, if you're not able to do facials, I don't know why you would use steam unless you're doing a back treatment and they're wearing a mask, which to me seems very uncomfortable, but you could do it. Can they use steam in general?
Yep, that's no problem at all. Yep.
Okay, should we post our Barbicide certification? Any type of sanitation, disinfectant certifications that you have taken? Yes, I'm going to go ahead and jump in and say, of course you should post that. You should let your clients know that you've taken classes and have certifications, and making sure that you're keeping that place. So unless you disagree with that, I would say that would be an easy one. Here's a good question, and Giovanna, I've pondered this myself. How eager do you think clients will be as far as coming back? Like, I know my husband wants a haircut desperately, so much so that we live in North Carolina, South Carolina, which we live right on the border. We're a 5-minute drive from South Carolina. He's already talking about driving to South Carolina to get a haircut because they're open there. And it's interesting because he's the person that will be banging your door down because he wants a haircut. How do you think estheticians, clients, the people who are getting the facials, the peels, all these things, do you think they're going to be eager to come back, or do you think it's going to be a slow start?
I think they're going to be pretty eager. I was surprised. I interviewed the VP of Hand and Stone and talked to her about what it looks like all over the country, and the locations that they have been able to open are off the charts. I mean, like booked, like crazy booked. People miss the estheticians. We miss you. I mean, I know myself personally, I am going to see my esthetician tomorrow to get some waxing done, and I can't even wait to see her. I'm like, how quickly can I get in there? So obviously it's not going to be waxing my lip, right, or my chin or anything like that, but I think people are pretty eager.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we all have clients we've got clients that are older. They're going to be more high risk. They're the ones that are probably going to be much more hesitant, and rightfully so. And then you've got your people, and you know exactly these clients I'm talking about, the ones who would not miss their appointment for anything. These are the people that would leave a work meeting to get to their appointment. These are the people that are like, I don't need to see my kid graduate. I have an appointment with you. You know those clients. They're going to be back in. These are the people that we probably, when you do go back to work, you want to start with. You want to start, marketing to them, getting them in. They're the most loyal clients. They're probably the least likely to sue you. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but they love you so much that they're dying to get back in, and they're willing to put up with the protocols you put in place. They're willing to wait outside. They're willing to not sit down. They're willing to do whatever it takes. Start with them first. The ones that you don't know that well.
One more thing to that, just is that I would say, your clients, you have these amazing relationships with them. They trust you. You've known them for so many years. Make sure that you keep earning their trust. I know that these protocols that we were talking about seem tedious and detailed and long. Do them so that you can keep their trust, and then you'll have them forever.
And they're going to appreciate it. They're going to put up with it. They're not, I wasn't mad that I had to sit in the car. I wasn't mad that she wore gloves to open the door. I mean, it was strange, but I didn't take it personal. They're not going to take it personal. They understand why you're doing it. It's not just to protect you, it's to protect them. Yes. I'm a lash artist working 2 to 3 hours at a time. Should I get away from too much of the lash services per day? So one client could take 2 or 3 hours. So if the client's wearing a mask, I guess it's okay to do 2 or 3 hours straight, isn't it?
Yep, it's totally okay. Yep. And I think you're just going to want to have good pre-screening calls with them, and and let them know that they are going to be wearing a mask for 2 to 3 hours. But hey, I get it. I love those lashes. So I got you. I'd wear a mask for 3 hours.
Yep. No, I hear it. Okay. Does the $259, and I'm going to let Tracy answer this, but I do know, does the $259 fee include the insurance, or is it a membership cost?
It's all included. You get the insurance, which is the best policy that is out there, $6 million worth of coverage, $2 million per type. And that's the thing I want to remind everyone. I think we talked about it on your last show when I was last on it. But, if you are not doing facials right now and you are doing retail, right, you're selling and recommending retail products, you still need to have insurance. You should make sure that you have product liability insurance, because if they have any kind of reaction at home, boop, that's you. So, and our insurance includes product liability, general liability, and professional liability. One-stop shop.
It's everything. And don't forget, the Esthetician Connection gives you $50 off of that. So it's only $209 for a year of insurance, which is, again, crazy. How do you find that discount? What you would do is go to the estheticianconnection.com, go over to, I believe it's under benefits, and there's going to be a link. There's going to be an ASCP link that you can click on. It'll take you right to where you sign up, and you will get the $50 off. So if you are thinking about insurance and you don't win the one they give away, you want to make sure you sign up through the EC to get your best pricing. Let's see. Okay, for facials. Interesting. This is interesting. For facials, what about using a plexiglass over the client's face? And I've seen them on sale. So what I would say this looks like is so you're doing a facial and the plexiglass, it's kind of like you're going to a salad bar. You know how like you're working under the plexiglass? I think it's that concept.
Yeah.
I find it awkward, but what do you think from an insurance point of view?
Well, we've seen it out there, and actually we've heard it from other people, like at Colorado estheticians. It's not approved by the state. It's not approved by your by your state board. If it's not approved, then you couldn't use it even if it's a brilliant idea. I think it's an inventive idea. I think that, I don't know if I would want to get a facial in a box. I think I would feel a little scared, but I also think, I think a facial shield is just as much. I mean, you could be, the gases, the air, the aspirations can be escaping out of where your hand is. The box is probably going to steam up. There's a lot going on there. So.
Yeah, I hear you. It's an interesting, innovative idea. Yeah. She meant the flexible, like it's a sneeze guard that goes over the client, like a sneeze guard.
Yeah.
It's still, if your state does not say you can do it, then insurance won't cover a complication. And just to be really clear, if you do something and nothing happens, then that doesn't mean it's right. If you do something and something happens and then you need insurance, that's when people tend to think, oh, I wish I had insurance. So you have to realize that we are now living in a whole new world where your risk factor is now so much higher, and people are, and I was talking to Tracy about this earlier. So let's say somebody comes in for a treatment with you and you take as many precautions as you can take, and you do everything that insurance tells you to do and everything the state tells you to do. You're going to be better off if they go to the grocery store and end up getting COVID at the grocery store and try to sue you for it. If they go to the grocery store and get COVID and then they find out you didn't wear a mask, or they didn't wear a mask, or you didn't sanitize, you're going to start to look much more responsible, even if they didn't catch it from you. So it's really important to almost over protect.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I feel silly over protecting myself, but I know it's the smart thing to do, because I'm like, do I really need to, practically strip before I walk in my house? I mean, you should see me in the garage. I'm like pulling off everything, taking my shoes off, like, because I'm thinking I don't want to bring anything in my house. Like,
Yeah.
And is that over? I don't know, but it's probably safer, right?
Well, and here's the thing too. I mean, like I mentioned before, document. So, we had said, hey, create this cleaning protocol, this cleaning schedule. Well, number one, if you have it in a book and this is what you're doing and your staff knows this is what you're doing, and then you take it even one more step further and you have a checklist and it says, oh, it's Tuesday, such and such day, and we went through all these things and we did it, and there's one for every day. I am telling you, like, you are going to be looking way better than the grocery store.
Yeah, and that's that whole documentation. I mean, I came from medical aesthetics and we had to document everything. I documented everything. I documented what their kids were doing, because anything that happened during that treatment, I just wrote everything down. It was like notes I had in there. And so that way, when they came back in, I was on point with everything. And it seemed tedious, and at the end of the day, it was very daunting, but it is the smart thing to do. What do you think of and I've not heard of this, but VB Max 28 millimeter E series PFT kit with blue foam nose clip and rubber mouthpiece? What do you think?
I don't even know what to think about. I don't even know what that is. Maggie, do you know what that is?
I have not heard of what that is. No.
Okay. VB 28 millimeter E series PFT kit with blue foam nose clip and rubber mouthpiece. Say that 10 times really fast. I don't know exactly what it is. It was an anonymous question. I've not heard of it. I certainly, it's great. We can take a look at it sometime.
Yeah.
Emily, put it on your radar. I don't know anything about it, guys. Are we missing any questions? Yep, I answered that. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add? I think this has been tons and tons of information. I'm super excited about it.
Just one more thing about masks before we, because they're going to be so important, right? And then getting the right one. Make sure also too, to check your mask if you are having a really hard time breathing through it because it's too layered up or whatever, and it's just a mask, like, a tie-on or whatever. It's not an N95. The problem is you actually are going to cause even more issues because you'll start pulling air from the sides where it gaps. So it's almost better to have something that is very breathable than it is to have something that you're pulling air from the sides. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I've got three more questions. Does ASCP cover you if you work out of your home?
Yes, we cover you if you are mobile, as long as it's okay in your state. So you could be going and doing facials if you can, or waxing wherever. So you can work wherever you want. Yep.
Okay, perfect. And do you know the expiration time for, your cavicides, your barbicides? I know I've got, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 gallons of stuff that I have here because, I collect stuff like that, it seems like, but I don't know how old they are. And is there it becomes non-effective after you've had it a year? Do you know any of that information?
Oh, that's a Maggie question.
I want to say that it's between 1 to 3 years when it becomes, like all things, when it becomes exposed to oxygen, it starts to break down. But that should be stated on the bottle.
Should be. Unless
Should
it's
be.
so old, it's worn off, right? Okay. So definitely check that. Okay, 2 more questions. Does ASCP cover selling retail skincare products on an online store?
Yes, we do. But if you are selling retail products in a state that you are not licensed in, so let's say you are selling retail products in New Mexico, but you live in Colorado, you are not covered unless you have a license in New Mexico.
When you say license, do you mean retail license or aesthetic license?
Aesthetic license,
Okay.
professional aesthetic license, yep.
So if you're selling, okay, gotcha. So if you're selling to your clients, no problem, because they're all going to be local. If you are putting up an online store and not only do your clients buy, but all of a sudden their cousins from all these other states are calling or placing orders online, and you ship it to so-and-so across the country and they have a reaction and you go back to your insurance company, unless you have a license in that state, no coverage.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no, that's important to know.
Yeah, and also too, on that same note, we do recommend that if you are selling online skincare, that you've done a skincare consultation virtually with that client. If you haven't already seen them face to face at one point, you need to at least do a consultation before you can recommend, if you want your license and your insurance company to cover you.
Makes sense. And then here's probably the question of the day. So Kathy Mills, I saved yours for last because it is definitely the question of the day. And you all might not like her answer, so I'm just preparing you. Would you advise someone to postpone opening their practice at this time? I was planning on opening in June, but now I'm hesitant.
Well, it's interesting. That is a question of the day, of the time, for sure. I've been asking that question to experts for the last 3 weeks, and it's too personal. You are the only person who can make that decision, because we know that there's not a vaccine yet. So you have to truly decide, do I need to go back? If I need to go back to feed my children, then I'm going to go back. If I don't need to go back to sustain my business or feed my family, then I'm probably going to wait. But that's a very, very, very personal thing.
It is. And, you know, as an esthetician, I'll tell you where my fear would lie. Because Kathy, this is what I would go through. I would feel this. I would feel this loyalty to my clients where I owe it to them. Oh my gosh, I've got to do this for them. So and we're women, so we want to please people anyway. So we're going to have, especially if they're texting us, when are you working? When are you working? And you all are probably getting those texts. I know my husband has texted his hairdresser 5 times and she's not replying. And I said to him, she's not working. That's why she's not replying, and he's not getting it. So I know that the same thing is happening to estheticians. The other fear I would have, besides letting my clients down, is, my gosh, what if I don't open and I lose them to my competition because my competition opened up? That is a real fear. And I understand that fear. And what Tracy said, personal decision, it's hard. Honestly, guys, I don't know what I don't know what I would do. I would have to really do some serious soul searching. Probably would start with a limited selection of clients. I don't think I would open up and say, all right, everybody make your appointments. I would go with my tried and true loyal people that have probably been blowing up my texts for the last 2.5, 3 months. So I could appease them and I wouldn't lose them. That's where I would start personally. I would not take new clients. I thought that was, no walk-ins and possibly no new clients, because the new client, you don't know where they've been, you don't know why they're coming to see you. Did they get kicked out of somebody else's practice? You don't know. So can you imagine being told don't take new clients? That's like what we do, is we're always looking for new clients. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're in a whole new world now, guys. So any advice you all have, make sure you go on the Esthetician Connection forum. We talk about this stuff all the time. They want to hear your input. So if you guys don't want to go back and you're telling people why you don't, put it on the page. If you're going back and you want to share with us how you've done it, put it on the page. Make sure that you also enter to win the 3 things that we've put up here. We've got the ASCP 1 year of insurance that you can enter. If you don't have insurance, wow, a year for free. How cool is that? Wow. So what you want to do is you want to post a picture of yourself taking this class, put it on the EC Facebook group page. Make sure you use the hashtag I want ASCP free. And that's how we're going to look for the winners. And Tracy, you're going to be looking for those winners.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be looking for the other ones. And this is if you want to win. There's 2 other prizes, a cold roller, glow roller from ASCP, or an EC mega coffee mug. All you have to do with that is post a photo of yourself taking the class that we just gave on the EC Facebook page. Use the hashtag EC loves ASCP. And we're going to be picking some winners in the next week. And you guys, 3 people are going to win. Tracy, I really appreciate your time. I think this was super, super, super informative. So thank you. And you're on the group. So if anybody has questions, Maggie, are you on the group yet?
I will admit I'm not, Sheri.
Well, we're going to get on the group because she's going to have way better answers than I am. And also too, Emily's on the group. You guys all know SC Emily. She can definitely answer any questions. We'll be checking it out for sure all day today and beyond.
Yeah, anytime you have questions, put them on there. We want to make sure we get those questions answered for you. We'll put a link up later if you want to rewatch it or go through it slower, and et cetera, et cetera. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much, Maggie and Tracy, for coming on. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheri.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.